Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities are available today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, starting on the daily chart, EURUSD at the top, DXY at the bottom. So what can we see on the daily? Well, yesterday we closed out as a nice bullish candle again. We're around the equilibrium still, so we're even closer to pushing back into the premium of this daily leg here. So price looks intent on doing that for the time being to fill our imbalance and the order block that's up here. Doesn't have to fill it 100% of course. Inversely on DXY we have the same. We have the bearish candle closeout yesterday, finally filling that daily fair value gap that was there, that was left behind. And we obviously have the same draw on price imbalance in the discount, and we're just above the equilibrium of this leg as well. So by equilibrium just means 50% or the middle point of the leg. We have our previous daily highs and lows still intact, though this morning price has started out bullish. So it looks like it's heading for some buy side liquidity, and the previous daily high will probably be the first target, at least there. We'll see on a lower time frame. Yesterday in my video I mentioned we had this imbalance and fair value gap on the daily. Price stopped just before it, so it didn't actually feel that imbalance, so may come for that at a later date. However, if I zoom in slightly here on DXY, you can see that we did spike and fill that imbalance, and then we had that massive bearish closeout. So DXY mitigating that buy side liquidity and filling that imbalance clearly gave the drive and the momentum for that bearish day to continue there. So although we didn't quite get that mitigation on EU, it was enough for DXY to do that, and obviously means there's some divergence, which we'll see on the lower time frame. So I think that's enough for the daily. We can go down to the 4-hour and see what that looks like. So on the 4-hour you can see we're having these internal structures, right, with the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. It's continuing, right? So we definitely have that bullish internal structure. We met some resistance at this 4-hour order block. You can see we had some sort of bearish reaction from it and have since pulled back, right? So it's probably not going to hold price there for much longer, but it's an area of resistance still. Price of course has been bullish over the last couple hours, and we know that there's buy side liquidity above this previous daily high. And then ultimately on the 4-hour, the next major buy side liquidity that I see will be above here. So this candle high here swept liquidity to the left, and then we broke down further from there, right? So there's definitely good buy side liquidity above here and an imbalance above it, and it's in a premium. So I believe we would have a good buy side liquidity reaction from there and seek some sell side liquidity. We may also have the same sort of reaction from this previous daily high, but I've drawn this out so we're not too surprised that if price does go up to seek a better buy side liquidity source before there's any sort of pullback maybe. So currently we are still respecting this order block. None of the candle closures have been above it. As you can see, this current candle is above it, but again there's 2 hours left, so it could quite easily spike into this and close below, respecting that. So that's why I've left that intact. Inversely on DXY, lower low here, and then lower low here, right? You can see where we spiked up, took buy side liquidity from these highs, and coincidentally that was also where our imbalance was. Okay, so filled an imbalance, took buy side liquidity from the left, had an obvious retreat in price here, closing out with that high test type doji candle, and then bearish from there into today. This is also where you'll notice the SMC divergence from this low to this low is a higher low, whereas from this high to this high is a higher high. So that indicated early signs of strength, which you can see played out on EU. Now, one thing to point out, obviously we have a lot more imbalance and order block here on the 4-hour on DXY, which makes things I guess a little bit more confusing because it is a POY and could be support, but that was kind of expected around this area anyway because of the number of confluences there. Price may need to consolidate a bit, take some liquidity, and then move in a direction. But it also provides a good confluence for shorts, possibly once we take some buy side liquidity. we'd have taken more sell side liquidity, mitigated this a bit more, and expect probably some sort of bullish reaction on DXY. So it's not a negative, and we can work with it either way. So let's go down to the 1 hour, where we'll see this price action a bit more clearly as well. So I'm going to start off a bit more zoomed out on the 1 hour just to tell the story. So yesterday you can see we had this initial bullish opening right into Asia. Price waited around for news, nothing really happened, but we'll see that even more clearly on the M15. Now when news came out, price spiked up above this 1 hour high, took that buy side liquidity above the order block here of this 1 hour structure. So swept it and had a bearish closeout, and that's where price came down, didn't make it to the daily imbalance and 1 hour order block here, didn't sweep that sell side liquidity, whereas we obviously did here on DXY. DXY came into this area here, into this POY, had that bullish reaction from there, took the buy side liquidity, and then had the bearish move after and closed out in that way overnight. So if we look at this, most recently you could say on the higher time frame 1 hour, DXY has taken buy side liquidity. So the next step is likely to be sell side liquidity below these previous daily lows, because we didn't take it overnight. We didn't take it in the afternoon, evening on Thursday. So we took sell side, then took buy side. It's only natural that price may need to take some sell side liquidity again, right? And that could cause another pullback to fill some of these imbalances, these areas, before continuing on our way. Or obviously it could take the previous daily low, take the previous daily high, and then continue. There's no rule about what it should do. And as we are right near that sell side liquidity point and buy side liquidity at the previous daily high here, it does look like we are seeking that. So we liquidated all of this sell side liquidity trend line here, and now we could seek out buy side liquidity on EU as well. So it's just a bit of the story: sell side, buy side, maybe sell side again. The structure of course is showing clearly on the 1 hour as well, the high low, high high, high low, high high, high low, possible high high. And we have the same liquidity highs up here, which I've drawn out on the 4 hour just to show where there's a good next liquidity point to take buy side from. So I don't think there's much more to say here on the 1 hour. Let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities we might have for today. So unfortunately yesterday, even though it was all quite predictable, this is the London session here, the London range. We didn't get any trades. We went up, took the buy side liquidity above these highs here to the left, didn't get the breakdown. Price just waited for news. It started showing signs of possible breakdown from there, but we was again too close to news. We spiked up, liquidated all the buy side above here and above that high I mentioned, and the move obviously went without us with the momentum. Now we'd come down after taking all of this trend line liquidity here. We didn't spike into here, but either way, price didn't give us any structure to trade back up on. It just went up on its own. Okay, so that happens sometimes. News just takes away the chances of getting in on a trade, which is fine, right? We could have been spiked out here if we tried to play with that news announcement. We have more today at 1:30, so hopefully price action doesn't wait again for news over London and give us no opportunities. So we'll see. So as I was hinting at on the higher time frames, and as we are in the premium of that 1 hour leg, seeking out possible buy side liquidity, I'm favoring shorts this morning because I think it's quite clear. We have of course the POY confluence here on DXY as sell side liquidity and the previous daily low, and we have the buy side liquidity highs above here, above the previous daily high. Okay, so we'd have sell side liquidity sponsorship, buy side liquidity sponsorship. So if price were to continue how it's going, maybe it's going to create some structure as it's going up, break above these highs, buy side liquidity, breakdown. Okay, so we want to see that break of structure below some sort of whatever structure it creates while it's here, and then we get our pullback to our lower time frame order block imbalance, which hopefully should be around here, that we can then trade downwards from the premium toward the discount or towards Asia lows if those are still intact, right? So let's draw that out. We have our breaker structure around this area here, We have our buy side liquidity sponsorship around here. We get our possible inducement during the pullback here, and we have our order block with imbalance around there for us to set our order with our stop loss just above the highs, and we can target, for me it would be 3% or just around Asia low. Right, we can take our profit before we start getting back to that equilibrium. And inversely, DXY would probably look something like this, right? Going down into that area and then breaking up, which, as I said, would be our sell side and buy side sponsorship around these areas. So this is exactly what I'll be looking for this morning. I think that'll be the earliest opportunity. Remember, of course, we also have these highs here. It's no problem because we have this big imbalance here, for DXY to go deeper into its imbalance, obviously, right? So that's also a possibility, and we may get the same move a bit higher up above here, which is fine. But it would be nice to get that early morning London sweep above previous highs, previous daily high, and we get the structure breakdown on the M5 or the M15. Nice momentum breakdown from there would be best. I wouldn't again be buying around these areas most likely. Maybe if I see it during live price action, maybe it'll look worth it, but again at the moment we'd be taking buy side liquidity. We'd be in a support POI here with sell side liquidity, so I wouldn't want to buy. I'd rather just be patient, wait for the short, and then of course I'd want to have any buy down here in a discount. Right, so if price was to come down at some point today, give us some structure, maybe sweep its internal low and break above, for us to go upwards. So I don't think I need to draw this one out and annotate it as much as this, because it's just the reverse. We need some sell side liquidity sponsorship, I would think, or a higher time frame POI to hold an internal sell side liquidity to be swept, and then we can break above. So this is the opportunity I'll be concentrating on for now, as we are at those highs. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.